The Angry Chicken is proudly sponsored by DoghouseSystems.com. If you use our code TAC, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. We thank DoghouseSystems.com for their support of The Angry Chicken.
Well met.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft.
It's time for a little blood.
This is the Angry Chicken.
I hope you like my invention.
Tastingo! I'm gonna eat that! Reporting for duty.
Greetings and welcome back to The Angry Chicken, episode 16. This is the podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. I am Garrett Weinzierl, and I am joined, as I always am, by Willie Dills Gregory and Jocelyn Moffat. Guys, welcome back. It's another week, and we are still neck deep in Hearthstone goodness.
Heyo.
That's one way to put it.
Buried up to my neck in hunters and rush warriors and rush paladins, and rush everything.
Rush all the things.
Great.
Rush them all.
It's great. Yes.
Don't-
Here's the best way to play this game. Put down a thing, charge your face. Put down another thing, charge your face.
Do not fire until you see the green of the Murloc eye.
Yeah, I might have to just. You know what? I'm feeling like I might just have to join them at this point. You guys.
No.
Really?
No. Stop it.
I'm
That's
getting
so sad.
weak.
When the going gets tough, you do not join the Cheese Fest.
Yeah, you know what though? I do always make these decks so I can see what it feels like on the other side, and then you can kind of get a sense for what you're supposed to do to beat them.
That's a very good point.
And if you're ever in my stream, you've probably heard me discuss that I do not hate the fact that these are very popular decks. I understand it, but I just don't have to like it, you know?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you should feel bad for playing it.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. Table flip, Deathwing.
Done. Out. Dill's done. Drop the mic. Leave.
Yeah.
I don't want to live on this Hearthstone planet anymore.
You know, though, I think I found a pretty good deck. You know what I think we should maybe start adding to this podcast? I think this would be an interesting segment. You know, it's not long enough already.
Deck of the week.
Start adding more segments.
Don't forget science. We still haven't added science yet.
It's true. Science still needs to happen.
One science enters almost is like in the email section almost every week, though. So we just get
It's
like a
true.
mini science section.
It already exists as a segment, even though it doesn't. But I think we should maybe have like a deck of the week or something like that. Because I'm consistently, and this may at some point stop happening, but I consistently keep finding new decks people are playing that are pretty cool. It might be, you know, we already kind of do it, but we don't actually like dig deep into this one specific deck.
That's not a bad idea.
Could be cool.
We could totally do that. So, anyways, before we get into the news and start our journey down the Angry Chicken pathway, got some announcements because, as we talked about a couple weeks ago, we have the Angry Chicken Invitational, our first tournament with Dills and myself casting. We finally have a date that we can give you people where we're going to be broadcasting.
You
this
mean you
thing.
people? Sorry, go ahead.
You chickens, you cluckers, you layers of eggs, however you prefer to be called. Well, that's
Not
racist
tick
to
eaters,
chickens.
though. That's offensive.
Yes, tick eaters is offensive, damn it. I told that guy on Twitter that it's
Hey,
offensive.
look, everybody relax, all right? Okay? Garrett's got something to say.
Right. So we're gonna be finally broadcasting the Angry Chicken Invitational on February 8th. That's not this Saturday. It's the following Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/amovetv. And we're very excited to talk about that because, spoiler alert, we've already casted it because that's how this has to work since there's no observer mode with in-game replays.
Exactly.
And so I'm going to spend this entire episode trying desperately not to talk about what Dills and I did yesterday.
Yeah, I actually I couldn't help myself. I was in AP Drop stream the other night, and I kind of maybe said that what he should have done is one of the plays that he did in the tournament, because he was like, "What could I have done there to win the game?" And I was like, "I'll tell you what you could have done." And then I just totally like typed it into the chat. Good thing is, I think it might have generated some excitement for people to watch it. So.
Did it involve a faceless manipulator?
It did. It
Okay.
did.
All
And
right,
a
good.
Soulfire.
Then I know.
Yeah,
I
that's
think I know
all I'm
what you're
gonna tell
talking
you
about.
guys.
Yeah, there were some amazing plays.
Spoilers? God.
Yeah, there were some
No,
absolute.
no, this is just a teaser. It's not a
Spoiler: there might be one card used. We don't tell you how it's used. Wow. Hey guys,
I'm going to tell you this,
there
though. I
might
saw
be
some
novice
stuff in there.
engineers. There might be
I
novice
saw some
engineers.
stuff in there I never thought I'd see. So, good stuff. And I'm excited for everyone to see this stuff.
Jocelyn saying there maybe a faceless manipulator used in a Hearthstone tournament is like telling someone, sorry, spoiler alert, there's drugs in Breaking Bad. Just so you know.
Damn it!
So, you know.
Now
Fair
I
enough,
don't
fair
even have to watch it. All right.
So yeah.
Jocelyn,
Anyways,
did you ever see the Breaking Bad? What it would have been like in Canada if that was a show in Canadian TV? You ever
No.
seen that meme?
I don't
No.
really know where this is going, but
No, basically it was like Walter White goes to the hospital and he's like, "You've got cancer. Treatment starts tomorrow." And then the show's over. Like basically, that show doesn't exist without the horrible healthcare situation in America. You guys are probably all watching it like, what's the deal? Why does he have to sell meth? I don't
what's the
understand.
problem?
wonderful. Nice, getting nice and topical at the top of the show.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We're gonna
again,
get some 1-star reviews or some. If this goes the way of the instance, people are gonna get really angry. We'll get some phone calls about that.
I don't like my personalities having opinions.
Get to the damn point. This is a Hearthstone show.
Yeah, so again, to reiterate, February 8th, 3 p.m. Eastern, mark your calendars, the Angry Chicken Invitational, 4 players, best of 7, deck elimination style tournament will be airing live right here on twitch.tv/amovetv. So, awesome. So guys, let's just get into it, because I feel like there's a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's kick off the week as we always do with some news.
Good news, everyone!
I don't know why that gnome is so sad about the news, because there's some really good news this week. Hearthstone beta is now open. Open beta is here. You can stop soliciting me for really shady things to give you a beta key. I don't even have any more beta keys.
Ooh, what were people offering
on.
you?
Keep your pants on, everybody.
Yeah.
You can just play if you want to.
Sounds scandalous.
They were taking off their socks very slowly. I don't know what was going on. Okay.
I didn't want to find out.
I should probably not make that comment.
Yeah, so basically, if you wanted to play Hearthstone for a long time and for whatever reason never got a key, just go to battle.net. Bang, done. You're playing. It's great.
Done and done.
And now, if you've been playing for as long as we have, it's time to farm the noobs. No, I'm just kidding, but kind of.
Well, if you're already sitting at 9+ like you are, Dills, in rank, this really affects you in no way, shape, or form.
It actually, yeah, I'm at rank 5 right now, and there are no noobs to be farmed.
Yeah, no, I was down
it's tough going right now.
I was at rank 18 when this hit, and I have since had a much better week. That being said, though, I did refine my decks also and did some research before I jumped back into rank play. I think I'm now up to 12 or 11.
Oh, cool. I got a new deck to show you, Garrett. I think you're gonna like it. I think it'll crush at the rank you're at right now.
I'm trying not to flatter you, but you haven't shown me a deck where I haven't thoroughly enjoyed playing it.
This one just won the tournament, and I was watching it, and I was like, "This is a new one, awesome!" Because I get sick of seeing like the same old kind of stuff, like with just a Cairn instead of Sylvanas. Like, okay, but this one is like kind of a control / burst you druid deck, which is pretty cool. So,
okay,
yeah, pretty awesome stuff.
Nice. I broke down and finally crafted a Jiraxis for my Warlock deck. I know you said make Tankmaster, but I was like, I've been really enjoying Warlock.
Yeah.
I feel like Jiraxis is a bigger impact on Warlock play. I'm gonna go for
Plus,
Jiraxis.
you get to be like, you face Jiraxis, and it's cool.
Eredar, Lord of the Burning Legion.
It's way more fun than playing Tinkmaster and be like, definitely this time. Whoops, 5/5. Okay, never mind. Jiraxis is much more fun.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, absolutely.
Although Jiraxis doesn't counter Deathwing.
No, he doesn't.
Is Deathwing something you really have to worry about constantly countering? Do you see it that much?
No.
Yes, it's that common. No,
Sometimes
I
you
guess,
do.
I guess that's a really good point. Thanks, Jocelyn. Thank you so much for raining on our Deathwing parade.
You're welcome. Just trying to put,
Do you
put
ever
it in
see
some
Deathwing?
context.
Do you ever
No,
see
I have
Deathwing,
never
Jocelyn?
seen
I've
Deathwing.
never seen him outside of the arena.
Never.
In Arena, he's amazing because I told you guys about the Deathwing. Like I pretty much always pick Deathwing in Arena because no one ever expects it, and no one really ever has an answer for it. They're just like, well, I guess I'll play my Chillwind Yeti, and you're like, yeah, sorry, the value of your Chillwind Yeti is so good, but Deathwing. But yeah, so he just crushes in Arena. But yeah, it's true. Constructed, he's very rare.
Yeah, it's hard to justify playing him.
Yeah,
As we've said in the past, he's kind of I'm no longer adhering to the rules of this game. Deal with this. Oh, you dealt with it. Okay, game over.
yeah, exactly.
That's all I had.
You go all in with
Yeah,
Deathwing.
that is it. So, anyways, if you are new to Hearthstone, if you're in now just as of the beta opening up, welcome. If it's your first time listening, welcome. And I'd love to hear from people who just got into to open the beta. So send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com or tweet us at tacpodcast. I'm interested to hear how it's going out there. I've already gotten some tweets from arena newbies. I pointed them to our first arena coaching VOD. And this is, of course, made a lot of people request more arena coaching VODs where we go through deck building deals. So I think we need to get back
we
into
actually, I think we need to do constructed VODs now because while the arena coaching is great, I think constructed is so much more popular than it was when we were making those.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I think it's time. Yeah.
Yeah, but with the new players, Arena I feel like is having a resurgence because if you're brand new,
yeah.
you don't have any cards. Arena is the place to really get a good feel for this game and get to play with cards that you just don't have.
Now, there's actually been since open beta's hit, there's been a few players who have done some interesting things. Like, I'm going to create an EU account and just like prove to everybody that you can do this free to play. Like, it's possible. Because, there's always the big debates like, oh, well, you play all these legendaries. How am I supposed to compete with that? But there's definitely a lot of players who have decided to take it upon themselves to show the world that you can do this. This is nothing new. I mean, this has been going on for a little while, but you used to have 2 beta keys to pull this off. Now you don't have to. Now you can just go ahead and sign up again for a different region. And so it's kind of interesting how people are doing this. And I do kind of miss that. Like I almost feel like we're all just like seasoned Hearthstone players now, which is kind of weird. The game still hasn't been out very long. Well, it hasn't been out at all, but I kind of miss that part where I would just do arena runs and get cards I didn't have. And it was just really exciting to open the packs. So all the people who just got in, yeah, other people have been playing and whatever, but you get to have that experience again. So just enjoy it and don't be salty about like other people have played before you. Because I miss that part. I miss opening packs and getting cards I don't have.
It's absolutely fine. I've always said the same thing about Magic. Like I've been playing Magic for a year now, and you can't get in the Magic and get mad because people have been playing it for 20 years.
Yeah,
like you just
exactly.
can't. It's not a reaction you should have. It's just it's a game this game is going to have long legs if Blizzard does it right, and so far they've been doing it very right. So there's always going to be an influx of new players. There's always going to be someone coming in at the ground floor. So just accept it and enjoy it and embrace it and just sink your teeth into the new experience of this awesome card game.
Yeah. And I don't want to discount the feelings of feeling behind. I understand those feelings. Like, trust me, watch me play WoW and watch me raid, and I know what it feels like to be behind. Trust me. But
Yep.
It doesn't mean that you can't, like, it doesn't mean that you should make it a thing that's not fun for you. Like, you should still try to just enjoy it for what it is and what you can do. And the excitement of opening packs, the excitement of playing like cards you've never played before. I actually watched, I think I talked about this before, but I watched like the VOD of me playing my first arena run ever. And like me picking cards and just being completely confused about what the hell was good and not good. And, I was like, I just wanted taunt so bad. I was like, ooh, that has taunt. Okay.
That's like every now and then I go back and listen to episode 1 of StarCast just to remind me that, hey, you were actually worse at podcasting at one point.
Yeah. You should hear the first podcast I ever did. Oh, man. I keep it hidden on purpose. It's never going to see the light of day.
Ooh. Come on, chat room. Go find that.
Can this be like a
Chat room,
special?
get on it.
Can this be
Google,
a special
get out
event at Nerdtacular? Can we get together in one of the hotel rooms and just listen to Dill's first podcast?
Yes.
Maybe have
there.
some drinks.
You'll want to hear it for like 2 minutes. You'll be like, yeah, okay, we can turn this
We're
off.
done. This is no longer funny. This is
We could
just
turn
sad.
it into a drinking game. It'll be fabulous.
Oh, no. Well, okay, I'm in for a drinking game.
All right. So, anyways, yeah.
Thank you,
So,
Ninja.
so open beta. That's news. Moving on. There was an interview with the executive producer of Hearthstone, Hamilton Chu, on a Chinese website. So a lot of this was thanks to Hearthpone's translation. So
Yeah, there's some stuff in here where I was like, that's definitely translated. Like,
Yeah.
that's not how he said that.
yeah, but there's a lot of gems about what the future
Oh,
of
yeah.
Hearthstone potentially holds in here. And there's articles on both Hearthpone and Liquid Hearth referring to this interview. Here's just some of the highlights. They talked saying the new premium content will be added to the game, which will not affect game balance, which includes new heroes. So, for example, Varian instead of Garrosh as your warrior hero.
What? I don't understand this.
Are they
I'm
going to
so
just
confused.
get rid of him completely and
No,
replace
they're
him?
just saying,
Or
like,
are
it's
you going to have a
just-
choice?
It's like a different avatar.
Yeah, you could pay to have Varian be your
Oh, okay, good. Because
warrior avatar.
Garrosh is kind of a dick.
And there'll be different VO, obviously. There'll be different voiceover.
Yeah.
But
funny
I'm
if it
just
wasn't.
like, I don't know. I get it. I get it. But I'm just like, I don't know. I'll have to think more about this. one because-
I'm really stoked about this. I think it's
I
great.
know. No, it's cool. It's cool.
There's
I'm not
too many
against it.
damn
Do it.
orcs. I want something besides an orc.
Yeah.
If they're new heroes, do you think there'll be new hero powers, or will
No.
just
No.
the warrior power
No.
be the warrior power?
I wish.
In
but
bold, will not affect balance.
no. Yeah.
Well, no, but they can introduce new
No.
twists on things without actually
No.
affecting balance.
No, that absolutely would affect balance. Like-
That's the thing is that
Unaffected
I talked about
balance.
this before that I would like to see this happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. At least not anytime soon. But you could do this without like fully affecting balance. But I mean, obviously it will somewhat. But like if you say like this warrior does the 2 armor, but this warrior does the 1 attack 1 armor that is already existing.
Then
as
he's
the
a druid. Yeah.
You know
and
what I
that's
mean?
and that's
So-
never going to happen because they want them to feel different.
Exactly, I understand that, but I think though they would still feel different enough because they still have the warrior cards. So I talked about this in my on my stream the other day that I think the problem with the hunter is not that like certain hunter cards are like OP and like so they're just they have to do this rush for your face thing. It is all the hero power. That is why hunters are constantly making rush decks because their hero power doesn't allow them to do anything else really. So if a hunter could choose something else, there might be more control hunters. You might actually see a Savannah Highmane in Constructed, but
I have 2 of them.
yeah, but the thing is, like nobody makes a deck like that. Like every hunter deck you see now is the
Not-
carbon copied hunter deck.
Yeah, it's not a
which is
high level
all
deck. So
rush.
you see Savannah Highmane in everyone's list of, hey, if you don't have this legendary, it's a good sub in.
No.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
guess.
mine is all full of traps and control, and I go to like turn 11 and 12
But
every
you're
time.
bucking the
and
trend,
win.
Jocelyn. You're bucking
And
the
I
trend.
and we've
I
talked
commend you for that.
we've talked a lot about the survival deck, so I'm not going to go back.
Yeah.
I really don't want to retread that again, but I have gone back to that deck this week, and I have been owning the Rush Hunters with that deck.
That's cool. Nice.
But
But what I'm saying is like when you get up high, you don't see anything but this deck, and it's because of the hero power. Like that's the thing. That's the reason people are doing it.
right, but also more cards are going to get added to the game, and that's going to make a drastic change to how the game is played. We currently have
Sure.
one set that is it. These are the cards that exist. Deal with it. And I don't think saying we need to change the hero powers is the way to go at it.
Can't believe you didn't just put shades on when you said that, Garrett. You just missed a great opportunity when you said deal with it to pop on some shades.
I'm sorry.
Missed opportunity.
I don't have I don't have my shades near me because I'm inside and I'm not Jack Nicholson.
Dills isn't wearing his this week either. It's
I know.
done right
I don't know
off.
wait they are.
I know I can actually see his face as opposed
Wait,
to
I
the
found
glare
him.
of his
I found
computer
him.
screen. Oh,
deal
damn
with
it.
it.
Ah, there it is. Glare. Welcome to Glare Town. Population Dills.
Yeah, I don't really need them when we do the podcast. So I don't
I
even
know.
know why I wore them. I just got used to doing it when I was looking at computer screens. But yeah, no, I mean, I would love it. All I'm saying is I would love it if there was an opportunity in the future at some point to be able to choose 2 different hero powers for each class to decide what type of deck you're making. I think it would be really fun. And I know it would be a balance nightmare, but I'm not the one who has to balance it. So I just think it would be really fun. That's my fantasy. Deal with it. Wait. Deal with it.
Oh, there it is. They're orange, they're not black, so it's not nearly as effective.
Yeah, I know. They need to be darker.
Other premium content that's going to be added to the game that will not affect balance. New card backs separate from the ones rewarded for ranked season play. So I'm assuming some really, really cool stuff. I'm hoping. I want an Illidari card back. I want the purple and green pointy jaggy spirals. Bring it on.
Like Burning Crusade
era
type stuff?
Like the Illidari cult, with all their glowing green banners and shit. If it looked like the glyphs that are the tattoos on Illidan, that would be such a sick looking card back.
Yeah, I agree. I want just all sorts of cool stuff. I want different maps, different card backs, like a new little thing I can click on existing maps, like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Jocelyn, they actually
say they do mention new game boards. Would you guys actually pay for game boards?
Maybe.
It depends on what it all costs. I mean, if we're talking $10, probably not.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be that much.
Unless
I don't think so
the only one.
Although mounts and pets.
If it was like Ice Crown, I'd be like, okay, I guess I got to shell it out for this one because I just have a hard on for Arthas, but but that's about it.
I think I might because of the streaming, but I understand. I think non-streaming deals would probably not give a crap.
That's a very good point. Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I think as a streamer, I would probably do it just because I want to show them to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you've taken the entertainer aspect of it, and you want some variety.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't want to show them off to people, so people could see what's out there, and then they could decide if they want to buy it.
Exactly. Every time I drop $50 in cards, I'm just like, I'm doing this for the listeners.
I'm doing this for the Angry Chicken. Yeah.
Bought a PS4. Right. I'm just like, this is for my video game podcast.
Yeah. I've denied myself decent food this week for my video game podcast. It's cool.
Makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
So then. Sorry, Garrett. Do you think that the premium content stuff, is it going to be strictly real money or in-game gold too?
That I'm curious about.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I would love to be able to earn it. That would be awesome.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was strictly money because they could justify it, and this wouldn't be the thing that would get me completely up in arms. Obviously, I prefer it to be gold as well.
It's just I only ask because you can buy the packs with the gold as well, and technically anything over one pack at a time is premium content, kind of. I guess, I don't know.
It directly affects your play, whereas just Varian instead of Garrosh does not.
Yeah, true, and I mean, Arena is technically premium content because there is kind of a precedence for being able to exchange gold instead of money. So we'll see, but I wouldn't blame Blizzard. I wouldn't say I wouldn't be angry with them if they decided that this was only money because, they're trying to make money, and I understand. Gotta make some money, man. Yeah.
And I'm all for it because I want this game to get the funds it needs to continue development at a good pace. So
yeah, exactly. And I mean, honestly, right now, gold is a non-issue for me at this point. It's probably just because I play too much.
Money bags.
It's because I play too much, Jocelyn. I'm exchanging real life hours for gold, basically.
For in-game gold.
I burned through 1,000. I burned through 1,000 gold this week just buying packs.
Nice. I did that too.
I was trying to find either Tinkmaster or Jiraxis, and it never happened. So I was like, well, I guess I'm crafting one of them.
But that's the thing. I mean, if you don't get them, at least you get a bunch of stuff you can craft.
Right.
I have a dream that one day I will have all the gold cards, and we'll see. But so I'm just basically at this point spending my gold on packs and Arena. It's kind of here and there.
I would just like all the cards. Period. Gold is just this distant. I'm just I don't know. It's like looking at some CEO of some mega corporation. Well, I'll never have that much money, and I just accept it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, non-Warcraft theme elements will not be added to Hearthstone. For the last time, stop asking, even though it's an awesome idea. Jeez, God. Achievements will eventually be added to the game. Cool. I'm down with that.
Awesome. Thank you. We need
kind of saw it coming. Yeah.
I mean, it seems like there's achievements in pretty much all Blizzard games at this point. Yeah.
So. Right. And it's in all games, period, nowadays.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
games. Yeah.
I need achievements.
Adventure modes will contain new quests, new game stages, and contain between 10 and 20 new cards.
Okay.
They said that the first adventure mode will be launched after the game releases on PC and iPad.
Okay.
So,
Which is really the important part.
yeah, which our good friend of mine who goes by the handle Tash helps write the show notes. He gathers a lot of the news that we put in the show for the week, and he notes here, he's like, is this an implication that iPad isn't going to be concurrent with the PC release? Frowny face.
I think we already knew that, right? That iPad and all that was going to come a little after PC.
I thought iPad was like hot
yeah.
on the heels. I knew the phone and Android was way down the line.
I mean, I don't think it's that far behind, but I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a little behind.
Okay.
There's things that have to happen on iPad releases that don't have to happen when they release a PC game. Like Blizzard basically decides, okay, this is done. But with an iPad version, okay, this is done. Now Apple has to tell us that that they're cool with it and that it's approved, and then it's in the store.
Right, and
So
which
there's
we-
like extra stuff anyway.
Right. And we keep getting a lot of tweets and emails of people asking, hey, are they going to have a beta version for the iPad? And the answer is no, because you can't easily run a beta on an app through the iOS App Store.
Yeah, so I work for a company that actually has an app for the company, and we have to basically use what's called Test Flight to run our beta versions of our app. So like the unreleased version. So
And is that
Blizzard
to-
employees can probably play right now with something similar to that. But
Yeah, exactly. I do. I work at a publication office, so we've messed around with like iPad publications, and it's the same thing. But it's all internal. You can't like send it out to people.
yeah,
who
you
just
have to
an
get
iPad.
you have to put in your device's whatever it is. It's like a VIN number, but I can't remember what it's called. IEED or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a very complex process. But yeah, so basically, this is the reason like the iPad would always come later than PC.
Yep.
It's just because there's another company involved. There's Apple. Whereas the PC version, it's just Blizzard deciding, yeah, it's done. Here you go. Bang.
It's a giant, well-designed dragon that must be vanquished.
Exactly.
More rewards are planned for the ranked ladder. No word
Hooray.
as to
Good.
what that'll be.
Please.
But bring it on. The first planned expansion pack will contain between 100 and 200 new cards.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
man.
That's a lot of new cards.
Oh,
That's
man.
so great. There's a new set of Magic cards coming out, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, I don't care.
God damn it, Garrett. This is not a magic show.
There's a tournament this week, and I'm playing in it, and I'm excited. Leave me alone.
Yeah, all right.
Death Knights and Monks are not being worked on currently.
Boo! This is more stuff I'm booing. I'm booing a couple things out of these.
I want a Death Knight in the worst way.
Yeah, I really
Death Knight
do.
would be really
I don't care at all about a monk, but I want a Death Knight.
Yeah. I want both.
just
I
the
just
flavor.
want more stuff. I just want more classes because it's as fun as the game is. Like it does feel like, okay, I've played all these classes a bunch. Give me some new stuff. I don't know. It's just like I think this game has the real. Like it's an upside and a downside. Whereas like the downside is that you can play through everything fairly quickly. You know, I mean, you can have played with every card fairly quickly if you play as much as I do. But the upside is that you can add new stuff fairly quickly, I think, you know, and Death Knight and Panda and new cards and all that. Like, I think you can continually kind of give us that stuff and make it feel fresh all the time. So I'm ready. But I guess it's still in beta, so whatever.
I'd like every 3 months to have some
Yeah.
kind of big influx of new stuff, but
Yeah, that could be cool.
I feel like that's not going to happen for some reason.
Every 3 months?
Again,
Well, not 100 to 200 cards every 3 months, I don't think.
Oh,
but,
okay. I was like,
But,
holy
you know,
crap.
like the 10 to 20 cards and adventure mode stuff could easily be added. Like, just something
Sure.
could be added every few months. Absolutely.
yeah, it'd be nice. As far as some features, the team is currently not working on a 2v2 mode. They said 1v1 needs to be solid first, which I agree with. There's still a lot of bugs.
Yeah.
Although, I
Yeah,
want
it's
a
fine.
2v2 mode. Observer mode is still on the list of things to do, but it's not being actively worked on.
God damn
What
it.
the actual hell?
God damn it!
I want to say the F
I
word.
read
we
that and
tried
I was
to-
like, oh no.
We tried
We
to
thought
keep
Garrett
this-
Rage was bad.
We
This is
try to
gonna
keep this
be
clean,
bad.
and you drop this bullshit on me.
As someone,
Do you know what a headache it is to make a goddamn tournament for this
as a
game?
podcast, we just went through putting something together that should not have been as hard as it was, but it was because and like we had to get Gimps had to help us out and make all these videos and take time to do this, and
Yep.
Yeah,
And,
I mean,
and because of that, there's now been a balanced patch and a massive meta switch
yeah.
since these games have been played.
And we had to talk about it as we cast it. Like, oh yeah, there's that
Novice
card's not
Engineer.
like that
Oh,
anymore.
yeah, it still has 2. I had completely forgotten that Defender of Argus was now a 2/3. I'm looking at a 3/3 Defender of Argus. Like, oh yeah, I forgot they used to be even better than they are right now.
Yeah. Which is why, if you guys noticed, like the Chillwind Yeti is like back in full effect. Because if you think about it, Argus can never actually give you more stats than a Yeti. In fact, Argus can only give you less, potentially. Like it's 4 or 5 worth of stats now, at its best. So
The double taunt though is just so handy in a world full
but
of aggro
if
decks.
you taunt up one creature, it's less good than the Yeti. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, absolutely.
That's why you're seeing like less defenders and more like Sun Fury protectors, because the defender could potentially, like, if you have to play a defender into an empty board, it's just like you're just crying. You're like, wow, I have to play a 2/3 for 4 mana. That really sucks.
And your opponent goes in the shark mode, just like, tasty blood's
Yeah.
in the water. He
Yeah.
clearly has no answers.
Exactly. So it's that's, and when you look at value wise, it's just got so nerfed. But anyway, I digress.
I'm so mad about this observer mode thing. I'm ready to just shut the show off.
Oh, no.
I'm done.
We're out of here, you
I'm
guys.
so mad. I skimmed over this earlier. I didn't even notice this.
Let's start a StarCraft podcast. There's observer mode in that, right?
Yeah, we should. Let's do that.
Yeah. Somebody should do that.
Somebody really should. Man, I mean, there's some out there, but they're all just so bad.
Wonder who could do that. Well, definitely not Garrett. Jocelyn, you want to do this?
Absolutely.
Okay, as long as
Yeah.
Garrett's not
The
involved.
only
I
person
think-
worse than me at StarCraft. Oh, wonderful. I'm just going to say news ends here because otherwise we're just going to rant and rave about how observer mode needs to be done tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
does.
let's move right into strategies.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
Welcome to the strategy segment of today's episode of The Angry Chicken. And today we're going to be discussing weapons and you. So Dills, this was your brainchild today. You wanted to talk about weapons, of which there are many in the game.
Yes, there are quite a few weapons.
But there's quite a few heroes actually locked out of weapons. I just don't have any.
Well, more heroes can use them than can't.
True.
So, actually, 6 heroes could potentially equip a weapon. 7 if you include a priest who mind visioned or thought stole your weapon.
But every time I do that, I just get the deadly poison and nothing to put it on.
And deadly
Yeah.
poison, worst card to thought steal. Actually, no, you know what? There would be a worse one. That would be Totemic Might. Totemic Might would be terrible.
I think they're both pretty bad because
Yeah.
they're both equally useless for a priest.
It's true. Anyway, the classes that can rock weapons are Warrior, Paladin, Rogue, Shaman, Hunter, and Warlock. And yes, Warlock can rock a weapon. While you may say, that's ridiculous, Dills. Warlocks don't have weapons. Warlocks have Jaraxxus.
Yeah,
so-
I was about to say, to that we would say, you face Jaraxxus.
Yeah, and Jaraxxus has actually one of the best weapons in the game. So most people, when they start playing, I think, have a tendency to... I mean, everyone who's been playing this game for a long time probably understands why weapons are so good, right? I mean, weapons are clearly good, right? You guys agree?
It's targeted damage.
Absolutely.
I get to
They're
put
amazing.
that damage
Yeah.
where I want, unless there's a taunt on board.
But no
Yeah,
one's
but
playing
even
with
still.
anyway.
I still have the damage. But, so anyway, it's like, they're great, right? But when you're a new player and you see these weapon cards, you probably think, oh, cool, okay, so then I just hit your face with that, right? And you see a lot of players will do that. They'll equip the weapon and then they'll just be like, cool, now I just hit your face with it twice. That's awesome. I got 6 damage for 2 mana. And that's definitely one of the benefits of the weapons, but I would like to point the new players to the fact that what the weapon really does is allows you to gain board control in a really effective manner, in a really efficient way, because you can effectively trade your own health, your own hero's health, to remove minions, and you get multiple charges of being able to do that. So
Yeah, you basically, once you have your weapon equipped, you get to look at your health pool as a resource.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
say, all right, this is
absolutely.
another resource I get to spend. Now you moved on from just mana. You have to start thinking about your life as something you can make work for you as well.
And the other thing though is that there are now classes that utilize the weapons in the current meta as just what like we just told you they're not, which is straight up face damage. So like the hunter will use their weapon as renewable charges on just 3 extra face damage every turn. That once they equip that weapon doesn't cost them any mana at all. So they're very, very efficient cards, and they're often 2-for-1s. The damage versus mana cost of these is insane. If you think about like an Arcanite Reaper costs you 5 mana, and over the course of its existence does 10 damage, whereas Pyroblast now costs 10 mana for 10 damage. So in general, weapons are incredibly efficient cards, and just fantastic. So when you're playing Arena, it's almost always good to just pick every weapon. There is a limit to that, but in general, it's kind of a rule you can follow and just be fine. Like I've won 12 with 4 True Silver Champions before, and most cards you wouldn't want 4 of, but True Silver Champion, yes,
It's
absolutely.
a phenomenal card.
Yeah. So actually, I'm going to talk about like what some of the best weapons. Well, actually, let's open it up first. Jocelyn, what do you think? Do you have any questions? Do you have any comments about weapons? You play a hunter most of the time, right?
I do play a hunter, and actually, I'm just looking at your list here, and what I don't understand, I have 2 Gladiators longbows in my deck, and I don't know why you're saying Eaglehorn bow's better.
Okay, well, I'll explain why I think that is better.
I could yell at you like an angry person why it's better.
Well, I have an idea, but I mean, with the Gladiator's longbow, I'm immune while I'm attacking. So that means that normally when you attack with a weapon, anybody who's new, if you attack a minion, you take whatever that damage is to your face. So, you have to take that into account. But with the Gladiator's longbow, it's 5 damage, and I don't take any, regardless of what I'm smacking. So
True.
Now, I'll answer your question with a question. How much mana does the Gladiator's longbow cost you?
7?
Yes.
Yeah. That is
why it's not as good.
That is a failure of a mana cost right there.
Yeah.
But I usually
too
make it
expensive.
to the point where I have 2 or 3 turns where I have 10 mana. Most of the time, I don't even spend it all. So
It's not
usually when I'm using it, it's later game.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not,
this is why I want you to see what I wrote here. I put, instead of best and worst weapons, I put best and still good weapons. So Gladiator's longbow still good, but best is the Eaglehorn bow. And
It's because you can get the eagle, and you are playing a trap-based hunter. The
Yeah.
Eaglehorn bow, you can get it out on turn 3, and if you play, literally, no pun intended, if you play your cards right, it will never run out. It is an infinite charge weapon if you don't get oozed and you stagger your traps correctly.
yeah,
That
you
is
could have that for the rest of the game.
So for 7 mana, your Gladiator's longbow, A, comes out later in the game, and B, can only ever, in the best case scenario, do 10 damage. Your
well, it's
Eaglehorn-
also the fact that the turn you play it, even if you're on turn 10, the turn you play it, you will not have the option to play anything else over 3 mana. So it basically uses up most of your turn. And that's kind of
For
a
five
problem.
da-
Most
for 5
cards that
damage.
use up that high amount of mana need to be so powerful that they're what's known as like bomb cards, like
Ragnaros.
Jiraxis or Ysera or Ragnaros or something like that uses that much mana.
Pyroblast, it does. You're paying 10
yeah.
mana, but you're doing 10 damage that can ignore anything on the board.
Yeah, instantly you're doing 10 damage. But the problem is with that weapon, and I still think that's an amazing card because you're right. You can basically lock down the board once you can equip a longbow because you can do damage without taking any. So you can hit Chillwind Yetis, you can hit whatever the hell you want without ever worrying about your own health. And that is great. And I really think that the Gladiator's longbow is a great card. However, I think that Eaglehorn bow outshines it. And if you notice here on my list too, Arcanite Reaper is in the still good category, whereas Fiery War Axe is in the best category. The reason being is that weapons are actually more effective early on in the game. Early in the game, when you equip a Fiery War Axe, you trade out 2 minions while you play 2 minions, giving you significant tempo advantage. And then that can just snowball to the win right there. Whereas later in the game, you'd probably be better off playing for 5 mana, playing a creature or 2 creatures, or rather than putting 5 mana into a weapon at that point. And even then, at that point, Fiery War Axe can still often kill creatures that are on the board. So Fiery War Axe, I think, is just one of the best. And you notice, like, most of these weapons I put in the best category are the low cost ones. So let's just go ahead and talk about them. I'll just go down the list.
Yeah. Starting with True Silver Champion, you've got a 4/2 weapon, so 4 attack, 2 charges, and it heals you for 2 every time you swing. So you're doing 8 damage, and you're getting 4 life out of it.
Yeah, and I think this is the best weapon that exists in Hearthstone. I don't know what you guys think. Is Jocelyn frozen, or is she just staring at us really creepily?
No, I think my camera actually died.
Her webcam is
It's
frozen.
really, really, really hot, so it just like shut itself off.
Just the moment that you stopped,
She's
it
just
just looks like you're just looking at me like, no, Dills, no,
No.
this is all wrong.
I'm gonna take my
Well, that
gladiator.
is normally how I look at you, but
She paused the camera. She grabbed her actual gladiator's longbow, and she's coming to you.
She just whacked me in the face, but she took no damage, so
yeah.
that's cool. So True Silver Champion is, I think, the best weapon in the game because of the fact that it mitigates some of that damage coming back with the 2 health that it returns, but also the fact that it's got 4 attack, and the 4 attack means it can kill so many more things. So Fiery War Axe is fantastic, and I think is very close. But True Silver Champion is like always effective. It's almost like there's nothing it can't kill.
My vote, and it is definitely a bias because of what I've been playing recently, goes for the Eagle Horn Bow, just because of how well it synergizes with the class itself.
True.
I think it's a phenomenal weapon. Even if it didn't recharge itself, you still get 6 damage for 3 mana.
Yeah, but it's a weaker Fiery War Axe if you can't recharge itself, because it's exactly the Fiery War Axe for 1 more mana. If you can't
Fire
play,
War Axe. Oh no, you're right. Never mind. I'm sorry.
yeah, Fire War Axe is a 3/2 as well,
I'm
but
sorry.
for 2 mana.
For whatever reason, I thought it was like, math is
So-
hard.
So basically, what you gain or what you spend in that 1 mana is the ability to potentially add more charges later. And in most cases, if you
It's
play
a hunter. There's a lot of traps.
exactly, in most cases you will. So
No,
it's
yeah.
well worth it to pay for that 1
Yeah,
extra mana.
you know me. I do usually balk at the inclusion of the word potentially when you're trying to figure out how to make a winning deck. But
Yeah.
with how many traps there are in a hunter at a hunter's disposal, and how many of them are actually good.
Yeah,
I don't know. I love the Eagle
absolutely.
Horn Bow.
Oh, sorry. Chat is really making me crack up right now.
Oh my god, I know, right?
I like you guys in chat. You guys are good.
I can, Jocelyn. You can just kill your camera if you're that
I
self-conscious.
can't kill my
about it.
camera. My camera's already dead.
No, like go into Skype and just uncheck your camera feed so it goes back to your avatar.
Okay, there you go.
This is the best radio
Oh,
ever.
wait. I want creepy Jocelyn, frozen Jocelyn back.
Nope.
Damn it. All right. So anyway, I think that those, like Fiery War Axe and True Silver Champion, are in a virtual tie as best weapons. What the True Silver Champion does is just, with that health return, it basically mitigates that damage you're taking. So, even though you're using it to trade out minions, you're taking far less of a penalty while you're doing it. Fiery War Axe is just so great because you play it on turn 2, and it's just like, wow, okay, now you can't play anything. If a warrior plays Fiery War Axe on turn 2, or coins out a Fiery War Axe on turn 1, I now cannot play my 2-drop unless it's the news. I can't play it anymore.
Right.
I'm basically just feeding him free minions to kill, and it's just a bad position to be in. So now I actually put in Deadly Poison here because in the rogue deck, I actually think Deadly Poison is all the weapon you need if you're talking constructed.
Absolutely. And that's
yeah,
definitely the what most high-ranked players believe as well.
Yeah, because what it does is basically, if you think about it, what it does is for 1 mana it gives you 4 damage over 2 turns. So it's an incredibly efficient card, and if I could run more than 2 in a deck, I would run 5 of these things. You could just kill so many creatures with Deadly Poison, with already having the ability to equip a dagger at any point. So I put that much higher than an Assassin's Blade. Assassin's Blade is great, but again, it costs 5 mana. And yes, it does 12 damage over 4 turns, but it costs 5 mana. So it's just a lot of mana to pay.
Yeah.
Stormforged Axe is a fantastic card in Shaman.
Have it in every Shaman deck I have ever created.
Yeah. Now let me ask you a question, Garrett. Do you like to put 2 in, or do you just stick with 1?
If you're going for more of an aggro style, I usually just do 1.
Yeah.
But usually I go for 2. If
Okay.
I'm in arena, I grab like all the Stormforged axes I can find.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Campbell's soup cans during the zombie apocalypse. I'm just like running out the door, and I can't carry all the Stormforged axes I want to bring with me.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. The problem I have with the Stormforged axe is when you play it on turn 2, you're then stuck with 2 mana on the next turn. You know?
It is rough because of the overload, but
Yeah, the overload is only really rough early in the game, and the best shaman cards all have overload, so it's like you're always dealing with overload early in the game. But it's such a great weapon because of the 3 charges. It's
Right.
got 3 charges, so you can remove, in most cases, 3 creatures.
you can dictate the tempo of the game so
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
as a shaman because of the Stormforged
I'm going to
axe.
dictate this so hard right now. Yeah, you guys. Such dictation
Like, I'm
happening
sorry,
right now.
you want to put down 1 creature every turn? Cool story, bro. Cool story.
I will continue to kill that creature. There you go. But yeah, so Stormforged Axe is a fantastic card. I've been toying with Shaman decks that only run 1, and that is because of the 3 charges. I think I would like to have a higher percentage to get it, but I don't want to have 2 in my hand. Do you know what I mean? Like
That is very true.
that's the thing I'm trying to avoid, is having 2
They're
in the
not-
same.
Yeah, I mean they're not terrible later game though. Is the thing too. It's
Yeah.
still it's like it's never a bad time to have a Stormforged axe. I don't know.
No, but it's I think again the reason why you'll see like what these ones that are in still good are so good is because what they do is when you play the weapons early is when they're at their most powerful. Now I'm going to put though, even though I just talked about how the early ones are so good, Blood Fury is the Jaraxxus weapon, and the reason why it is in the best category is because when you do play Jaraxxus, you are in kind of end game mode, right? So you have moved yourself up to 15 health. Oftentimes what you don't do is actually kill creatures with it. Now you can, but you're only at 15 health. So you really got to be careful. A lot of classes have the ability to do 10 to 15 damage in one turn with no creatures on the board at this point. And so you got to be careful. But what it does give you the ability to do is 8 times in a row, go to your face for 3 damage, and you're basically trying to shut the game out. So Jaraxxus having that weapon is just insane. You get that crazy good hero power, you heal back up to 15, and you get this weapon. So it's just every turn I got 3 more damage for free to your face, 8 times if I need it.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy good.
Yeah, Jaraxxus comes out and you're in instant aggro mode, and having 3 extra damage every turn just it's a absolute positive.
Yeah, it's just basically time to finish the game. It's time to win the game. So, Sword of Justice I'm putting in best, even though I'll say this: you're not seeing Sword of Justice in very many Paladin decks anymore because people believe it's too slow, and I'll tell you why. Is because when you play it on turn 3, that is your only play on turn 3, right? Like you're done. Your turn is done. And what you've essentially done is equipped a weapon that does 1 damage. And you don't even want to use it to do damage. You want to use it to buff creatures. So,
and you're also you have this like first world Hearthstone problem of playing the hero that has one of the best weapons in the game. So you're holding up that slot.
Yeah. Yeah, this is also most of the time it's a one of in most decks. Although the current aggro paladin is using 2 of these because they're basically playing this and then they're playing things like Southsea Deckhand, which is a 2/1 that has charge when you have a weapon equipped. So you play this and now it's a 3/2 with charge for 1 mana. So it's pretty insane.
That is pretty nuts.
But Sword of Justice is great. What it does, it's got 5 charges, does 1 attack. And it buffs all of your creatures 1/1 as they come out.
And uses the durability.
Yeah, and uses up 1 of the durability to do so. But what it does is for the next, 2 or 3 turns, you're pumping out creatures that the other guy can't deal with efficiently. So it is amazing if you can get it out and get a few creatures.
It's like a blood imp on crack that can run out of gas.
Yeah. Well, it's like a perma Stormwind champion on all your creatures, like as they come out.
Yep.
And it's just insanely good. So the problem is, again, it's a little too slow. If you play it on turn 3, you can't play anything else on the same turn. So you end up kind of losing a little bit of tempo, and you don't want to use it to kill stuff off, even though I often do, because I find it's still more valuable to kill something with 1 toughness if I can, even if it uses up the durability of that. So
I'm looking at your list of best here, and apparently the paladins just have really good blacksmiths, man, because they have 3 weapons in this list.
yeah. Paladin is, I think, the strongest weapon class. I know warrior should be technically, but it's just the paladin class, man. Those weapons are so sick. They don't have like a standard weapon. And if you think about it, like, so True Silver Champion is kind of like a slightly better War Axe for a couple more mana. Sword of Justice is like just an insane upgrade card for a couple more mana. It upgrades your creatures too. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then Ashbringer is like an insane Arcanite Reaper that comes along with a 6/6 with a bubble and taunt. Like, I don't know.
Okay, so wait. I've never seen an Ashbringer played, so what does an Ashbringer actually do? What makes it so amazing?
So you would never have seen an Ashbringer played because
that's-
it's the death rattle of Tyrion.
Okay.
So that's the
Yes.
thing. I feel like on this list here, sir, you need like an asterisk next to Ashbringer. Like,
I
this,
know.
this
I should have
card
actually
used
put that because I did
steroids.
put it for the other one. There you go. Blood Fury is Jiraxis. Ashbringer is Tyrion.
Yeah, I think both
So-
Blood Fury and Ashbringer deserve asterisks, because this isn't just a weapon. It has a clause. It's attached to
Right.
something else that's also awesome.
Yeah.
See, and
So-
I've never seen a Tyrion played, so that would explain it.
You were
Well,
living
you
in
know
a
what? When we
strange,
did our
lucky
random
world.
play, how did I never get a Tyrion against him?
I don't know.
Man, we got to do
Yeah,
it some more.
Wow.
So Ashbringer is basically Arcanite Reaper on crack. It's a 5/3, 5 attack, 3 durability. It's 15 damage. So for 8 mana, you get a 6/6. You get a 6/6 with Divine Shield and Taunt, and eventually you're going to get a 5/3 weapon. So like that's pretty good for 8 mana. This is why Tyrion is like the best class legendary.
He is, he's just such a strong card.
Yeah, unless he gets Tink Mastered, silenced, or whatever. Like, he's just so freaking good.
Right.
And then, of course, here you see in best is Eagle Hornbow. We already talked about Eagle Hornbow. I'm going to talk about the still good weapons here real quick. And I'm going to kind of gloss over these. Just these are good. Now, there's a reason why each of these are a little less good, and mostly it has to do with mana cost. So if you guys are wondering, it's pretty much just because mana cost is just a little bit too high for some of these. So Heavy Axe is actually, you guys are probably wondering, what the hell is Heavy Axe? Heavy Axe is what happens when you play Upgrade by itself. You get this 1/3 little piece of crap weapon. Basically just like...
Oh, so why isn't there a piece of crap section? We've got
Yeah.
best, still good, piece of crap.
But this is why, because for 1 mana you get 3 damage. Still good.
It
I
should
don't know.
be called a hatchet. I don't know why it's called a heavy axe.
Yeah. Assassin's Blade, again, it's 5 mana. The problem I have with Assassin's Blade, and I still pick it in Arena most times, I will never pick 2 of them, though, because, again, I don't want 2 of these in my hand. It's got 4 durability. It's going to last forever. So having 2 in my hand means I have basically a dead card. I have, like, 1 I can play and then a dead card.
Yeah.
But it's an insanely good weapon when you have that 1. Arcanite Reaper, again, it's 5 mana to do this, and you get 5. You get 2 attacks from 5, but it's only really good in like specific decks where the bulk of your damage to the face is coming from the weapons, and those decks kind of went out of favor. I mean, if you saw what was Artosis's warrior deck at BlizzCon, relied heavily on like Arcanite Reaper to do damage to the face.
Yeah.
But that's kind of gone out of fashion with the current meta. So the Doomhammer I'm actually throwing in here. We already talked about the Gladiator's Longbow, but I'm actually throwing Doomhammer in here because
It's a good finisher as a shot.
yeah, if you can pair up a Doomhammer with like a Rockbiter weapon
That's
and you
exactly
can
what I
swing
do
for
with
10, it's insane,
Yeah.
right?
If I see a Doomhammer in Arena, I almost always grab it because Rockbiter weapons are falling off trees.
Yeah. But again, like the fact is that it costs 5 mana and 2 overload. So it costs you 7 to play the weapon in the first place overall. And it ends up oftentimes making you take a bunch of damage. This is what I find in Arena anyway. So I end up having to use it on creatures. And then I end up just like killing myself because I'm attacking twice with the weapon each turn.
See, I always make it a point to unless there's ton, I don't have a choice to never use it like that.
Yeah.
Because it comes out later in the game, so I'm usually not in weapon control mode anyway, so I just use it as an extra 4 damage to my opponent every turn.
Yeah, sure.
And if you try and stick to that, it's a better card. But you can't always stick
I guess
to that,
so,
and
but
that's a
it's just
problem.
too tempting when someone throws out a 2 toughness creature to be like, well, I got this Doom Hammer. I'm just going to kill that thing. No
Right,
problem.
and I'm just saying this as a rule of thumb, too. There's always scenarios where you want to break that rule.
Yeah, but Rockbiter weapon makes Doom Hammer.
Oh, no. Wow. There was no
Best
warning on that at
show
all.
Ever.
Oh, that was no warning at all. Well, honestly, I mean, for the podcast, which is the larger audience, no one's even going to know about your funky web camera, Jocelyn.
That's true. That's true.
Don't worry, Jocelyn.
Dills goes down without even a warning. You're like mid-syllable, and it's just like, do. Good night, everyone.
The Lights Justice is in the still good category because it is a 1/4 for 1 mana, and it just doesn't do enough, but it's actually really good. Sorry, is my camera down too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens when you disconnect. So
Okay,
turn
hold
that
on,
back on.
hold on. I'm not paying attention.
Just keep talking.
Yeah, I'm not even on the thing, so I have no idea. By the way, pointing to you guys. All right. Lights Justice is fantastic, actually, if you can play it on turn 1 in Arena. But other than that, it's like no good at all.
I hate Lights Justice.
Yeah,
I think
it's just a waste
I
of
think
a
this
card.
belongs in the melted down for something better category.
It's if you pick it in Arena, it's like you have one card that you like hope you don't get at the end of the game. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with it. If you do get it on turn 1, it's like pretty cool because you can oftentimes kill. It helps you gain board control basically.
Right.
Perdition's Blade is actually an interesting card. It's pretty good. It's got that ability to do damage like twice in the turn it's played. And
I
one
was
of the
running that a lot in the early days. After the very first patch where Rogue was no longer completely broken.
yeah,
I was running Perdition Blades in my Rogue deck, but I haven't touched it in a month or two.
it's just right now, it's a card that is better utilized. Like it's the 3 mana slot is like better utilized to do something else. It's better utilized on like an SI7 agent or a Harvest Golem or something like that.
Right.
And yes, it's great. And if you can combo it out, you get 4 damage on that turn. Like you can take out 2. You can 2 for 1 in the initial turn you play it. Sometimes 3 for 1 because you get 1 more attack later. So it can be great, but in most situations, it just doesn't happen that way. And then I'm going to put Gorehowl here. And Gorehowl is an interesting weapon. It's 7/1, so it looks like... Wait, what? I only get to swing once with it for 7 mana? But actually, you can swing 7 times with it if you only hit creatures. But what it often does for warriors in Arena anyway, because in Arena you use it to actually kill creatures. But often with times what it does is it basically, it kills you and it gets weaker every time. And eventually you run out of creatures. You can't kill any more creatures with it, basically. And then it's just like a piece of crap when it's like a 2/1, But in Constructed, it's a big piece of the OTK. So I still think it's good. It's just 7 mana for 7 damage. It's really not that efficient when you think about it as a finisher. But again, all these weapons are amazing. They're still better than most cards. And you can't really go wrong with them. Quickly, we'll talk about counters and additional combo cards. The obvious counter is the Swamp Ooze.
Which
Swamp
is a
Ooze
good minion in its
Yeah.
own right. It's a 3/2 for 2, and it has
Yes.
the added bonus of removing your opponent's weapon.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's very common in Arena. It's not that common right now in Constructed, but I think it's shifting back to being common again because people are basically like running wild with their weapons because they know no one's running oozes, right? So
Yeah, and now that I feel like the Mage Pyroblast nerf had a little to do with this because now the Mage is less popular, so
sure.
people are switching to all the other classes which have weapons. And when
Well,
the Mage was so prevalent, you definitely wanted the Fairy Dragon in there. But I know it's like, okay, well, the Mage, they're not
Yeah.
as popular. Put a Ooze in there instead of a Fairy Dragon.
I actually put oozes in my paladin deck because of hunters. Because if I could ooze off that hunter weapon, it actually took a bunch of their damage away. Because, like you said, Garrett, they put that weapon up and then they just have it for the rest of the game.
Yeah, the potential for the damage ceiling on an Eaglehorn bow is technically pretty almost infinite for the length of a normal game.
Yeah. So, but they're so, I think they're so important right now in the current meta that I'm putting them in a lot of decks. And they're just, for 2 mana, I deal with your weapon. And I play a 3/2 at the same time. So it's hard to go wrong there. It just has value even if it does nothing. Without killing the weapon, it's a raptor, so it's fine. Now, Harrison Jones is interesting because it's a very inefficient card if it doesn't get a weapon, right? And so if you're playing a mage or a priest or a warlock in most cases, it's not gonna be a good card. And people always talk about this. This is the dream. Oh man, a Harrison Jones Doomhammer. It was amazing. But how many times do you actually want to draw 6 cards? Like how many times do you really want to draw 6 cards in one turn? Like
there's much bigger problems with your deck if this is it's frequent enough.
Yeah.
That you need this to happen.
Well, it's just most of the time I already have 4 to 5 cards in my hand if I'm playing a deck that has card draw, right?
Yeah.
So if I draw 6 cards, I've now destroyed a couple of my cards. I don't think it's actually the dream, you guys. I don't think it's actually that.
But he's an Indiana Jones reference. And
yeah, I know. And I like him, and I have him, and this belongs in the museum and all that stuff.
And if you mouse over him, it better say Junior.
He just, I don't know. It's too situational, and if you don't run across a weapon class, he's really inefficient. So I can't put the Dill stamp of approval on Harrison Jones as a counter to weapons. I think Swamp Ooze is still better. Yeah. Sorry, you guys out there who he's your only legendary and you're stoked, but
but he's terrible. You should dust him.
He's not terrible. He's just he's
he's a
5/4
for 5. He's not absolutely awful, but he's as a legendary, it's just disappointing.
Yeah, but see, there's other 5/4s for cheaper than 5.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, like you could have a panda in there and like definitely do something good with it. So
yeah, and then you got your Bloodsail Corsair, which.
Yeah, but I don't think this is ever going to make it into like the metagame really. It's just too weak of a card. I guess if like some warrior deck just was like crushing everybody, like you might see like, okay, we need more oozes. What do? We throw in Bloodsail Corsairs, but no, I don't know. I tried to make a pirate deck. Have you guys tried to make a good pirate deck?
No, because I watched Husky play at BlizzCon.
Yeah. It's impossible to make it good, man. It's like because you can make good Murloc decks, right? That actually win. But how come pirates are so crappy? Like, what's the deal with that?
It just comes. I think it always comes back to around to this is the first set, and there's just not enough of the same type of creatures to have that. We had someone tweeted us today like, "Hey, is there like a dragon deck? There's a lot of dragons." It's like no, because they're mostly all legendaries.
There is a good dragon deck.
Well,
yes,
yeah,
there
if you
is.
just throw all the legendary dragons into a deck.
Crip's been playing he calls it his Mordor deck. And it is pretty awesome. It's all dwarves and dragons, dude.
Nice.
Yeah. And every time he plays that, I'm about to take you into Mordor, dude. So it's actually pretty powerful, though. It's kind of interesting. But anyway, let's talk about some of the combo weapon cards. So these are not like the counters, but these are the cards that
they enhance or are benefited by your existence of a weapon.
They go along with the existence of weapons. So Dread Corsair is an interesting card. It's on its own, it's weak. It's inefficient. It's a 3/3 with taunt. So it's basically a grizzly for 4. But if you have a weapon, it's cheaper based on the attack power of your weapon. Meaning if you were to put this in like a paladin deck and equip a True Silver, it'd be free. So it would be a 0 mana cost 3/3 with taunt. So that seems pretty good, right? But I don't know if you guys remember when we were watching. Well, Jocelyn wasn't there, but Garrett, when we watched Husky play his pirate deck at BlizzCon, he chucked down both of these Dread Corsairs in the same turn for free, and then had no cards in his hand and was suddenly like top decking on like turn 4 or something like that.
It felt a lot like what you describe your Magic games to be like I guess I'm just out of cards.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's just, I don't know. It seems so good, and then in reality, it's just, not really.
Yeah. I'm not in love with the Dread Corsair.
Yeah.
Bloodsail Raider, however.
Raider's pretty good. Yeah.
I like Bloodsail Raider.
So for 2 mana, you get a 2/3 that also gets plus attack depending on the attack of your weapon. So if you think about this card will actually still work with the current Warsong Commander, because it will get charged because it has less than 3 attack when it hits the board. However, let's say you equip a Gorehowl, and then on the next turn you play 2 Bloodsail Raiders and a Warsong Commander. You basically have 2 10/3s that can swing directly to the face for 20 damage. So,
yep.
It's still got some pretty cool utility. And
actually, I like that. I didn't even thought about that with the Warrior, because those are actually decent cards in a Warrior deck, even if you don't get that combo.
Yeah, you could still play like kind of an OTK Warrior with these 2 cards and like a couple of
Inner Rages.
Inner Rages, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So it could be interesting. I mean, I'm curious to see if people start to do this. I haven't seen it yet, but it could happen.
Yep.
We got Captain Greenskin. This is an interesting legendary that I've been trying to make work, and I don't think does, unfortunately. What it does is basically it's an upgrade plus a 5/4. And it's cool. It upgrades your weapon. That's great. But I just feel like oftentimes I don't have both of them in my hand at the same time and can have enough mana to play them both. Or I play my weapon, I use it, then on the next turn it's like, well, Greenskin doesn't actually make sense here. So it's weird. So again, sorry, downvote Captain Greenskin. No Dill's seal of approval. South Sea Deckhand is interesting. It's actually kind of making a little bit of a comeback, like I said, in the Rush Paladin deck with the Sword of Justice. So 2/1 that charges when you have a weapon. Also good in Arena if you're playing a rogue, because you pretty much always have a weapon equipped as a rogue. Let's see, Spiteful Smith. This is a really good card. So even if you're playing like a mage, Spiteful Smith is good, because just the stats on it are good. It's a 4/6 for 5. So it survives a lot, it kills a lot. It's a good card. If you play a rogue or a warrior or something, you get this thing to kill something and be damaged, you buff your attack on your weapon by 2.
It's quite nice in the rogue deck, because then your hero power just becomes badass.
It becomes a Fiery War Axe. I'm sorry, I keep moving these around on accident, you guys.
And it becomes an on-demand Fiery War Axe.
Yeah, so basically, no card cost, you get a Fiery War Axe for 2 mana. And I think somebody at one point in chat talked about Spiteful Smith, and then play the what is the card that makes something stealth? Master of Disguise. Master of Disguise, your Spiteful Smith, and you basically for the rest of the game have Fiery War Axes on demand.
Oh, that's so evil.
Yeah,
that's so evil.
Arathi Weaponsmith is kind of belongs in this category, but not really. But we didn't mention its weapon earlier. Basically, it's a 3/3 that gives you a 2/2 weapon, so it's really efficient, and it only costs 4 mana to do so. So
yeah,
it's a fantastic card. And then finally, there's Blade Fury, and I think after our TAC Invitational, I really like Blade Fury.
I think your only option as an AOE, as a rogue, because
Fan of Knives is just crap,
garbage.
Yeah,
it's a
but Blade Fury plus Deadly Poison is like, I mean, if you think about it, it costs 2 cards, and it costs your weapon, but you can attack with the weapon first, then you can Blade Fury, and it's like super Consecrate because it actually hits the hero too.
Right.
So yeah, it's a fantastic card, and really like adds to the utility of what weapons do in a rogue deck. So to sum it all up, weapons good. The best weapons are best, but the worst weapons are still good. So guys, pick weapons. Everybody else, pick oozes. Kill off those weapons. Profit.
If you're new to the game and you're looking at these deck lists and you're like, man, I don't have any of this, and you're looking for cards to side in to pick up some of the slack of the cards you're missing, look at some weapons.
Yeah,
can't really go wrong, unless of course
if you're playing a weapon class. There's almost no reason not to have at least one of these kinds of weapons in your deck.
Absolutely,
they're all amazing. So
And a lot of the ones in our best category are commons.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah, Gorehowl is like the rarest, I guess.
Yeah. Ashbringer.
Doomhammer.
Ashbringer and Blood Fury. Like I said, don't count.
Yeah.
They get an asterisk.
Yeah.
They don't count. But yeah, Deadly Poison, Fiery War Axe, Eaglehorn Bow.
Yeah, they're all cards you pretty much get like pretty early on. So
easy to find and acquire cards.
Yeah, and they're going to add a lot of power to you quickly. So like a lot of times when people ask me what's a good class to play when I don't have a lot of cards yet, I say Paladin, because Paladin has True Silver Champions as part of their basic set. And, Warrior has Fiery War Axe as part of their basic set. So they're amazing cards, and they're going to help you win games.
Yep, it's good stuff. Let's move on to crazy game stories.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
That's what Jiraxis has to say about putting an asterisk next to his weapon. Got a crazy game story from listener Mike L, who wrote in and said, "Hey all, I just ran into a rogue who managed to get off the craziest combo I think I've ever encountered. I was feeling pretty proud of myself, having just played a Defender of Argus on my 4/8 Twilight Drake, making it a 4/9 with taunt on turn 6. How'd you make a 5/9 with taunt?
Look at you with your math.
Yeah, a 5/9.
Yeah. He said, my opponent shadow stepped one of his smaller minions back into his hand, played 2 backstabs, damaging a couple of my creatures, played Preparation and Sap to return my Twilight Drake to my hand for 0 mana, played Preparation and Blade Fury to deal his weapon damage to me for 0 mana, dropped Van Cleef as a 16/16. I had 19 health. I played Sylvanas thinking he'd smack me for 16, and then I could steal his Van Cleef. Then he played Cold Blood, swung it for 20, and killed me. Love the show."
So you faced what's known as a miracle rogue who pulled off a miracle, is what happened.
Yeah, this is what we call this is like the rogue dream.
Yeah. So let me think. Let me see here, though. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. So he had 8 cards in hand when he did this, or did he have an auctioneer on board? He must have had an auctioneer on board, right? Like, how does this happen?
I don't know. We don't have the replay because there's no replay and apparently no Observer UI coming anytime soon. So
every time we get these crazy game stories from people, I always have so many questions, and I guess that's why they're crazy, right?
That is definitely why I picked this.
We just get the meat, and honestly, this segment would be so much more boring if we sat here Sherlock style, just like, well, okay, what happened in turn 1? Okay, he played this. In turn 2? Okay.
I'm just saying, man, that guy had 8 cards. Holy crap. And then he had Cold Blood the next turn. Crazy. That is crazy.
What are the chances?
Somebody in chat just said Noxious's Randuin Wind deck has the best crazy game stories. I have seen him play that deck, and yes, it has some crazy game stories. But it also loses most of the time.
Dills, I think the world is ready for another one of your F the meta ridiculous decks.
Yeah, I've been toying with some ideas, but nothing is as good right now as the Your Milkshake deck. So, we'll get there. Don't worry.
We should we should do our first constructed VOD that we put up on YouTube. I think should be us trying to make a good priest deck.
Okay.
'Cause I feel like the priests just aren't getting the love they should be getting.
There is something out there. Yeah, Randuin Win is a priest deck actually. That's basically what it is. It's all, and you've seen this a lot with Shaman too. It's all the random cards. Any card that does something randomly, all in one deck with a priest.
Yeah, but
that's fun.
It's fun. It's not necessarily a good deck.
No, it's not a good deck.
I've been inspired by Yang Wu and his decision that no, I'm gonna find a way to make the hunter good. Damn it! And I feel like I want to try doing that for the priest.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'll say this: I've won games with the Your Milkshake deck in ranked mode at fairly high rank, but I've lost more. And I remember getting so frustrated. I was like, I'm pulling out the Milkshake deck, dude. Let's do this. And it just went poorly. But yeah, fun decks are fun. They're not always good, but I would love to make a fun one that is also good. We'll see. We'll work on it.
Jocelyn, you have any crazy game stories for the week?
No, not this week.
Dills?
I think we're actually just replacing our own with listener ones at this point,
Yeah.
right?
It's probably the best way to
listener
go.
ones are so good. I'm
really
just like,
good.
Yeah, because
none of this ever happens to me.
honestly,
Yeah.
everything that happens to me is stuff we've talked about on previous episodes, or stuff I saw in a tournament I casted yesterday and can't talk about.
Yeah, that was the craziest game story of all crazy game stories.
There's multiple
Yeah.
moments in that would justify like Crazy Game Story Hall
I know.
of Fame.
I want to tell you guys about it right now so bad, but I can't.
Yeah,
You have to
Okay.
wait until, what is it,
Yeah.
February 8th?
Yeah, you guys are gonna have to wait.
February 8th. Twitch.
But you are gonna see some serious, like, balls to the wall, going for it action. I'm excited to see.
God.
Balls to the wall, going for it action. That's you could probably see that on the internet tonight if you wanted to, but
But ours will be better.
yeah, but ours will be better.
Alrighty. Well, with all of that stuff talking about things we can't tell you about, let's move straight into emails.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, did you get my message?
Yep.
Oh,
Hello, brother.
I watched World's End this weekend, and now I want to go watch it again after that little soundbite. Thanks.
Oh, I still haven't
Stills.
seen that.
It's good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It's a good film. Anyways, welcome to the email segment. If you want to send in an email to get on the show, you can do so at tacpodcast@gmail.com. Although, as Jocelyn recently saw, we're not exactly hurting for them. So, don't
It's
be
okay. We still
too
want
concerned.
them. I just have to sort them. I can't sort beta keys anymore. I got to sort something.
Yeah, gotta give something to Jocelyn for her to sort. Come on, guys,
Yeah,
keep it coming.
So Jocelyn was in charge of emails this week, and Dills, you can take the first one this time.
What? All right.
Yeah!
All right, so this is from Nate S. Says, "Hey everyone, love the show. Been listening since the first episode. It's helped me so much in game as well as made my work commutes enjoyable. Thank you, Nate S. Do you feel cards should be disenchanted, crafted based off their mana, attack, health instead of just their rarity? Example: you can craft a Novice Engineer for the same cost as a 5/4 card that costs 5 mana. Okay, I don't know what that card is. Yes, I know that's not accurate, but okay."
He said it was
I guess you know what. Actually, I guess that's the Harrison Jones, but it doesn't cost the same as Novice Engineer. So thanks again for the great show. You guys and Canadian are the best. So what he's basically saying here is, do you think that we should be like it should cost dust or gain dust based on its power, not its rarity?
Or some combination of both.
That's an interesting idea. I wouldn't be against that. But I understand
seem-
why Blizzard has their current form, and I think it works.
It does seem a little bit odd that you can craft something for 1 or 2 mana for the same cost as something that's, 7, 8, or 9 mana. Those
Well, and
seem
it's-
to be. I know that there's a place for in the game for both levels of cards, but at the same time, it just seems a little odd. I thought this email was really cool.
It's definitely an interesting take, and I think the easy answer, I'm just like, no, it's ridiculous. Why would you even
Yeah,
ask
but
that?
that's what you say to everything, Garrett.
No. And then I look at this like, okay, well, when I was playing my first card game ever, and I'm excluding Pokemon because I was really young and I had no damn idea what I was doing. So I'm going to use, again, Magic as the example. But it doesn't really matter what the card game is. I had no idea what I was doing. And in my head, I was like, okay, this costs more and it's a bigger creature. Clearly, it's a better card. And that is a really easy, really bad trap to fall into because it is incredibly not true.
Yeah, this is exactly the point I was going to make is that just because this card costs 5 mana and has more stats doesn't mean it's actually more powerful than, say, like Nat Pagle. Nat Pagle is an incredibly powerful card right now, and it's in like a ton of decks. It's a 2 mana 0/4. And you look at it and you're like, why? Why would this be good? Like, this shouldn't be that good. But it's just, it can win you games outright for 2 mana. And so the mana cost compared to the power is actually what makes a card good, not the mana cost and the power. You know what I mean? So those two things are not like, they should be equivalent no matter how high or low the mana cost is. So really, like, the rarity does matter because you're talking about the power of the card, not just the mana cost.
Absolutely. And then you get into things like the card's effect, if it has any effects on it.
Yeah, think about like the Northshire Cleric in like a a priest deck, right? It's like it can draw you tons of cards and win you the game. It's 1 mana, you know. It's a great card.
It can also get backstab with 1 spell power and just die.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it's like, is that worth less than like a Temple Enforcer, which is 6 mana and is 6/6 that, you know, potentially gives 6/9 worth of stats? Not necessarily, because either one can actually win you the game. Doesn't matter like how big or small they are.
Yeah,
so
and it's this also calls in the concept of the curve, and that you 1, 2, and 3 drops are actually more important than higher drops, because statistically the amount of your games that go into turn 8, 9, and 10 are going to always be lower than the ones that are in the early turns.
They have turn 1.
So because once you understand the curve, that you need a higher amount of lower cost cards and a lower amount of higher cost cards so that you have a nice draw, you have a higher chance of having a nice draw, you realize that all the cards at all the different mana costs are equally as important.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of what I was trying to say, just not nearly that articulate.
Well, you know, you when you said the Magic thing, Garrett, I totally, like, the first time I played Magic, I was like, well, how come this green deck isn't the best deck? It's got these big creatures.
Exactly.
And everyone was like, no, that deck sucks, dude. Don't play that deck. I was like, okay.
I was
like, all right, fine.
Love.
Play the blue one then, I guess.
Yeah, if you've never gotten into Magic and you're curious about it, go watch Day 9's his description of the color wheel in Magic, because he just goes color by color and gives you just a really down to earth explanation of what each one is. And I love green because he's just like, do you like putting out big creatures? Great. Because that's what you'll be doing. And they're going to die a lot, but eventually it'll be that one turn where your opponent can't do anything about it, and you're going to feel good.
I'll have to check this out. I have not seen this.
It's hysterical.
All right.
He has a very low opinion of red, and his description of blue just makes me laugh, and it's because I like playing blue decks. But anyways, enough Magic talk for one episode. You can tell I've been...
I don't think it is. I think you're going to talk about it again pretty soon. Just wait.
You can tell I've been researching for the pre-release event this weekend. So, anyways, this is a really good question. And like I said, as quick as I was to be like, no, that's absurd. It is actually a really good question, and especially on the first episode after the beta goes open. There's going to be a lot of new players trying to grasp the fundamentals of this game.
And like I said, I think that... honestly, it could have made sense either way. I mean, it wouldn't have been like a bad way to do the dusting and crafting. I just
it would
think
have been much more complicated.
But I think the way that Blizzard is doing it now speaks to that concept that is actually important, and that is that you shouldn't overvalue cards. Like, you shouldn't value cards based on how much they cost, because 9 mana card can be crappy, 1 mana card can be amazing. So there you go.
Indeed. I'll take the next one from Mark S. This made me laugh. This is actually how the email starts.
It just literally said Garrett, period.
Yeah, he
then
addressed this email directly to you, Garrett.
Yeah.
Oh, it just said, okay, so it just says Garrett. Yeah. Okay. All right, so this is where I step back and I look around the room.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening, Mike S.
Look, me and Jocelyn we're gonna take this one off. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and eat some more egg roll here and have some beer.
All right, sounds
it's all
good.
you, man.
All right. He says, I've been playing a lot of ranked mode recently, and I'm seeing every type of deck under the sun. I feel like there just isn't a metagame anymore. It's gone. There is no one type of deck, no single card that I just keep seeing over and over. Do you think that Hearthstone players have been shying away from trending cards, or is this related to the influx of new players from open beta? Much like a Crazy Game Story, I have a lot of questions. What rank are you at? That's a big one.
Well, Garrett, he's not here, so you're just gonna have to answer the man.
I'm not sure. if you're playing a lot recently and you haven't played before and you're starting an Angry Chicken rank, I think it's absolutely because the beta just went open. I think you had definitely answered your own question if that is the case. If you're in higher ranks, if you're up like where Dills is, I am genuinely shocked. Because
I am not having this experience.
Yeah, you generally see like the 3 same decks
Because
Yeah.
I was going to
most
say
frequently.
this is totally my experience, is that every single person I play is totally different.
Okay.
So, and especially like specifically since open beta, like I started playing after, and it's a completely different experience from what even we were talking about on Monday, saying, you know, like, oh, there's all these legendaries. I'm finding it so difficult, even at Angry Chicken level. And now I'm just like, I am breezing up this ladder. This is amazing. So I am definitely having this experience where it's all common cards. There's, you know, I'm running into all the heroes. It's not just hunters or just anything else. So yeah, it's definitely true at the lower ranks anyways.
Even at my mid ranks, I'm seeing like a lot of hunters. A lot of hunters. A lot of warlocks.
It's a cheap deck to make, and it's effective. So.
Right.
So where are you, Garrett? You're in and around 10 or 11?
No, like I said, I think I'm at like 12 or so. I honestly don't remember where I left off. But yeah, I'm
so
around.
I'm in and around 19, 20 right now. Because again, like I only just picked up, I was just playing Arena because I wasn't having any fun on the ladder. So I only just went back to the ladder, and I'm in and around 19 or 20, and I'm seeing this completely. It's like I'm going on win streaks of like 5 or 6 games, and I'm just like, oh,
Nice.
this is nice.
I'll bet you what it is it's new players, and they're just playing the cards they have, like whatever
Yeah,
they've
exactly.
gotten. So it has nothing to do with like any meta or anything like that. It basically is like, well, these are the cards I've earned, so that's what I'm going to play. You know, I'm going to play these ones because I remember when I first started out, the first like decent card I got was Sea Giant. So Sea Giant was in every deck I played, you know, because I had one Sea Giant, and I was like, cool, I got an 8/8. All right, he goes in, and that's what a lot of players are going to be. That's the stage they're going to be at as far as their card accumulation. So
I need a finisher. What's the biggest guy I have? 7.
there's no meta when I only have one Sea Giant. Like that is my meta.
Exactly.
Like, okay, Sea Giant goes in.
Okay, sounds good. I guess I'll go priest so I can heal him.
Yeah, it's like what class should I do? Well, whatever class it is, I'm putting the Sea Giant in. So that was basically my thought process at first. So
Yeah,
that's probably what you're running into.
Yeah, when you're playing with a limited collection, that's exactly what you have to do, and it's a good learning process.
Huh.
So, Jocelyn, you want to take the last one?
Absolutely. This
This
one
is actually
comes...
addressed to all of us. So I think
Yeah, this is the whole gang.
I'll pay attention this time.
I'm very curious as to why he addressed it to just me. Mark asked.
Got a
I
fan,
know.
Just let me
right?
know.
You got a fan.
I'm very curious.
You might want to be
A fan
afraid,
or an
actually.
enemy?
You should be
Yeah, I
afraid.
was gonna say.
Well, if that's the
Very
case, you should be very, very afraid, Dills, because you're like, there's like definitely a Team Dills thing going on with this show.
Nah. It's Team Hate Dills.
Team
Then
Hate
there's
Dills.
like people who just like the
No,
show.
they're just the loudest. The second loudest is the Love Dills.
Team Love Dills is just quiet. That's all.
Aw, guys, why are you so quiet? You can love me out loud. It's cool.
All right, so this email comes to us from another Mike, and he says, "Hey gang, I've been with you since day one, and I love your podcast. I've learned a lot and become a more aware player, so thank you for that. However, there's some things you say that sometimes just leave me wondering, so how do you know? For example, last week's show, you were talking about a specific card and said it was great against Murloc decks. I'm pretty sure that was the Hungry Crab that we were talking about. And so he said he just doesn't know why that specific card was good against Murloc decks. How do you have any idea what kind of deck you'll be up against? And given that, how do you fight it? I just made a deck that I like to play and play it the best I can, regardless of who's sitting across from me on any given game, since it is random as to who I'll play and what cards they'll be holding. So why would it make a difference, or how would you even know if a certain card is good against a certain hero or a certain deck when you have no idea who you'll be playing next? How do you prepare for that beyond the I like this deck and go from there? Love the show. Mike, a.k.a. Crossley. I have no freaking idea. This is totally details.
Well, this gets into the discussion of just meta in general,
Yeah.
which is a deeper understanding of what the trend overall in Hearthstone is at any given moment.
Yeah.
Well, and we've talked about it before where there are even different meta. Well, I mean, we just talked about it with the last question where it depends what rank you're at too. I mean, like
Absolutely.
the decks that Dills is facing are probably different than the ones that the legendary guys are facing, which is different than what Garrett is facing, which is
God, I
different
hope
from
so.
what I'm experiencing, which is totally fun down at the bottom.
We have snacks.
Come to the bottom, we have cookies.
Oh man, I should actually. That sounds really good. I'll say this. He's asking how we know that it's good against Murloc decks. Well, that card is
that specific card
straight up good against Murloc decks because
Yeah.
it eats Murlocs and gets buffed.
Yeah, it's more the second part of the question where how do you have any idea of what would be good given that you never know if you're going to be facing a mage or a priest or a hunter or all these different things. Do you run oozes because you might get a weapon and then you come up against a mage and you're like, damn it.
Well, okay, so what I'll say to this guy, and the only reason I say is because he said, I don't know why a specific card would be good against Murlocs, but that is why. I mean, make sure you as you're learning the game, you kind of pay attention to what certain cards do against certain other cards, because that is a big part of the game. That's a huge mechanic is counters to specific things, and throwing those counters in when you tend to run into those things is the meta game. So the reason why I really like Tinkmaster Overspark is because I tend to run into Ragnaros and Sylvanas and Tyrion and really good cards, and so he's an answer to those.
Yeah, and to get real specific real quick about those three examples, all three of those cards are very good because they have card effects on them that are exceptionally strong. Tyrion is already a 6/5 with taunt.
6/6.
Yeah. Sorry, a 6/6 with taunt and Divine Shield, and when he dies, you give your opponent a 5 damage, 3 durability weapon. Sylvanas, of course, when she dies, steals one of your minions, and then Ragnaros just shoots out 8 damage randomly to something that you don't want to get 8 damage at the end.
Massive fireballs, and he sucks.
So that is why Tinkmaster is a counter to that, because Tinkmaster randomly turns a targeted minion into a 5/5 creature or a 1/1 creature, either of which is better than any of those guys.
Mm-hmm. But he makes a valid point: is that shouldn't I just? So he just makes a deck that he likes, and regardless of who he plays, he plays that deck. That's absolutely fine, because it's very true. You don't know what deck you're gonna run into, and everybody who watched my stream the other night saw me play this control druid deck and go on massive win streaks until I got to rank 5, and then just ran into nothing but hunters for the next 6 games in a row. And just get destroyed. They always had the perfect draw or whatever. So I was like, okay, screw this. I'm going to make an anti-hunter deck, because apparently everyone is playing hunter now all of a sudden. I go and I make my anti-hunter deck. First game, I get a hunter, and I'm like, sweet, this is totally working. I have all these low-cost cards that have taunt and stuff. The cards I generally don't actually think are good. And then the next 5 games after, I get big control druids that I can't deal with at all with this deck. So basically, you don't know. And if you make a deck specifically to combat one type of deck, you're going to struggle, because you're going to run into that class every now and then, So basically what you want to do is you want to make a deck that can maybe deal with 4 or 5 different types of decks in general. And you basically just hope that you get good matchups. Sometimes you'll get a bad one, and sometimes you get a good one. It's rock, paper, scissors at that point. But, it's play the deck you like. There's no problem with that. That is not a bad way to play this game. So you shouldn't feel bad about that if you were playing it that way. Just some people like me are going to, rack my little tiny brain trying to figure out exactly how to beat the current meta in every single situation. So
and
you don't have to be that way.
Yeah, and overall, I mean, that is if your goal with ranked play is to ascend as high and ranked as possible, that's the challenge. It's to find a deck that works very well against multiple decks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not just a hard counter one. If I made a deck that was specifically just to counter Murlocs, probably wouldn't get very far.
Yeah, you would lose a lot. You would beat the Murlocs to the ground, but you would lose because you'd be like, "I got these hungry crabs. This is gonna be awesome.
They're gonna eat
hungry
all
crabs
these Murlocs." And then I go up against a control shaman, and I'm just like, "Oh, I'm sorry,
I will
hungry
say,
crab."
I have seen so many Murlocs in the last 2 or 3 days. It's ridiculous. They're coming back. I think because of open beta.
Did they ever leave?
No.
We were talking about them last week.
They're coming back down at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
They were gone for a little while.
No, I still see them every now and then. At the ranks that I'm at, it's you know why?
It's I saw a Murloc shaman.
Yeah. Wow.
So. Not even Murloc Warlocks.
Well, there's
Just
actually
Murloc
this
everything.
Murloc Shaman actually does kind of work because of Bloodlust, you know. So it's and that sucks when it happens.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Yep, Garrett, your shaman's been tainted with Murlocs.
Ew.
Every freaking hero has been tainted with Murlocs at some point.
True. Yeah, everyone's tried everything. Like I've seen like Hunter Murlocs, and you're like, what? Wait, no. What are you doing?
Why
There's
is
a better
chat
way
room
to play
asking
Hunter.
me to explode? Has someone been telling them that like this is where you come to see a man rage? just rewind to the Observer UI news. There you go. That's as ragey as I'll get for tonight.
Everyone's hoping that you're gonna rage. Is that what's happening?
I don't
I'm
know.
not in the chat at the moment.
Someone's just like, Garrett, please explode. I don't know why you're asking me this. I don't
You
understand.
just explode on command.
That's how it works. Garrett's got
Yeah.
a button. If you push it, he explodes.
Maybe I'll talk about how poorly my Magic tournament will probably go for me at the end of next week's episode. After the recording, I won't bore people with that on the actual podcast. They don't get to hear me rage. So I did terrible in my last Magic tournament. It was not good.
Looking forward to this then.
It was not a good situation, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sergeant Costello in the chat makes a good point. Watch me stream after I've been drinking, and you will see some rage. Oh man. Oh man, you guys.
specifically he says salty rage.
Salty rage, exactly.
What's the difference between regular rage and salty rage?
Well, I guess mine's like more akin to like a sea captain's rage, maybe. I don't know.
One goes better with margaritas.
That's true. Yeah, I take all my rage with salt, please.
There you go.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I think we'll decide to end this episode there, which means it's time to thank everyone who left us reviews in the iTunes store. We have one from Canada.
We do have one from Canada, and I put this one in, and normally I just read the names, but I had to read this whole thing because I keep forgetting to thank her. So our iTunes reviews from Canada thanked her this week. This one is titled 3 Dudes and a Goat, which is 5 stars. Dills, Garrett, and Jocelyn are engaging, informative, and always entertaining. An undead goat is a champion and makes me want to give a 6-star review. That is from Manny Zero, and thank you very much to both Manny and Undead Goat. You guys are both fantastic. Undead Goat is our chat room extraordinaire moderator type person who makes it so I don't have to throw links in the chat room all day.
Chat
She's
room
great.
champion.
Bravo,
Chat room
Undead Goat. Undead Goat is so good that she gets mentioned in our reviews. That is amazing.
Yep. From
I
Canada.
love it. I love it.
From the North American store, thanks to Gary Zach, who says love the podcast. Thanks to Loud Noises, who I have to read the title at least of the review. It says amazing, oddly aroused.
Whoa.
Oh,
Made me laugh. These are those
Oh,
people
buddy.
who are taking their
Okay.
socks off very slowly, asking for beta keys. I don't get what's going on. Mango Man 3 and Calamist, thank you all very much for your 5-star reviews. We appreciate it, and it helps the show out a lot. As always, The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv and the Frog Pants Studios, so go bookmark amove.tv and frogpants.com. We record live on Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/amovetv. The mobile live stream is provided by alphageekradio.com, so go to mobile.alphageekradio.com for that. And also head on over to Indiegogo and search for Alpha Geek Radio, because Todd, who runs Alpha Geek Radio, does an awesome job. We don't pay him for this, and he's running a little campaign to upgrade some of the equipment and get a couple more channels up and running, so that all of the awesome shows that are now over on Alpha Geek Radio don't overlap. So go help him out. You can follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast. I am at Garrett Art. Dills is at Willie Dills, and Jocelyn is at GIS Gamer. Thanks to Brian Griffith, the musician responsible for our intro music. His website is briangriffithmusic.com. Thanks to Tash, who I mentioned earlier, who helps write the show notes. And my last personal pimp, check out nomoonart.com for my graphic design work. That's my portfolio, and you can request a commission or any freelance work there. So go check that out. Dills, where can people find you?
People can find me on my stream, Raging About Murlocs. I think Sergeant Costello actually just nailed it. This was, I'm sure, a quote directly from one of my streams. Oh, you built a deck with Murlocs? So skilled. Did you think of that yourself? Were you the first one that was like, oh, look at this Murloc buffs this Murloc. I should probably put all the Murlocs in one deck and it would be amazing. Anyway, that's pretty much how it sounds. So if you like that sort of thing, go to twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF and check me out there. Also, you can find me on the Instance on Friday mornings talking about World of Warcraft, that other game that Blizzard makes.
And Hearthstone.
And sometimes Hearthstone, too, yeah. Sometimes Terpster uses that as his personal training session to ask me questions about Hearthstone. And Terpster plays Murlocs, so... God damn it! I gotta fix him.
If only he was awake at this hour, we would have him on as a guest.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's it for me.
Lovely. Jocelyn, where can people find you?
Right here on AMove TV. That's where I do the Gamers In every Friday night at 8:30 Eastern. You can also find some of my game reviews and editorials over on the Doghouse Network. That's just doghousenetwork.com. They're doing a really great job over there right now, so head on over.
And I hear they're going to have Angry Chicken computers very, very soon.
Oh my God. Really? I want one so bad.
We'll keep you posted on that. But until then, make sure to use the code TAC at checkout over at doghousesystems.com and you'll get double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. And every time you use that code, it directly supports the show. So thank you very much, everyone who uses that code. And oh, by the way, you also get like the best gaming computer ever. It's just a side effect of using that code over at doghousesystems.com. So... enjoy that. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to go prepare to get owned in a Magic tournament.
All right. Good luck with that.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.